Episode 128 of Cal Cagna Radio begins right now, and I'm late to the party. I apologize.
Yeah, and I told you, I'm like, hey, we go at 7 or 6 tonight, right? And you're like, no, 5.
5 is the reason we did it tonight is
And then
because
at 5,
it's
I
Cinco
was
de
calling
Mayo.
you.
I
Yeah,
know.
and then I was calling you and nothing.
Bing, 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 boom. I kind of don't hate that sound.
Neither
No,
do
I was
I.
on the phone for something with work, and then tonight's Cinco de Mayo. My wife's got the whole house decorated, and we're having tequila and all sorts of Cinco de Mayo type foods, including guacamole and salsa.
Including taquitos.
Yeah, we're having taquitos and hummus. We are going to talk about the story, the Dennis Rodman story that just made me die laughing when I was listening to the podcast from last week. But I do want to say I just got back from the grocery store a couple of minutes ago, and
Boy, my arm's tired.
we have officially as a society lost our mind, and I think it's because of Pinterest. Because
That was out of left field.
what, Pinterest?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Oh yeah, no, we've lost our minds because Pinterest is telling all these women out there, and yes, I understand there are men that have Pinterest, but those people, come on, we know they don't exist, or they're gay, right? Like, let's be honest. Do you know any heterosexual man with a Pinterest board? Do you have one?
I have one
So do I.
for art. I have it for like
Oh, you don't.
comic art and like tattoo stuff. Like some tattoo guys that I follow on there. And then like mainly it's all comic book art.
How many times have you used it? Like a lot? Do you go on there a lot?
No.
Okay,
It'll be like a year in between going on.
Yeah, me too. I started it early on. I have some like old vintage like cars on there.
Quilts.
Yeah. I have my hottest guys from the 1900s, hottest guys from the 1800s list. I have that. Fitness, because of course I'm super into fitness.
Right.
And also 1950s trucks or something. But yeah, the other day I got a notification. The only reason I even knew I had Pinterest was because I got a notification that someone like repinned my pin. And I'm like, what? Like, who's looking at my, like, I think I have 3 followers on Pinterest. Anyways, the reason we're losing our minds on
And they're just sitting there with bated breath, waiting every day for you to like post something.
Today's the day. He's going to post something.
He's gonna do it.
That son of a bitch is going to do it. Today's the day. He usually only posts on Tuesdays in March.
Yeah.
He
posted
last
on
year.
Tuesday in March in 2015. I feel like he's gonna do it today. I really do.
I feel like today's the day. Oh, he didn't? Okay, tomorrow then.
And then you post like a picture of like Hootie and the Blowfish with no reason why.
No context at all.
No.
It's just that Darius Rucker.
People are like, oh my gosh. People just lose their minds. And like,
did it. Are you kidding me? I told you he'd do it. He did it. He did it.
it's like dunking over Taco Fall. He did it. Did you see that dunk over
Taco Fall?
The
Taco Charles.
No, the center for
Purdue.
the Celtics. The Boston Celtics.
Yeah, giant human being.
Yeah.
Like 7'5".
Yeah, and he did oh great. You're drinking Coke Zero, gonna be burping and hiccuping the whole time.
It puts me in a good mood. I'm having tequila later, so I can't drink yet. By the way, you're drinking Guinness on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
You're like, cause I'll be dead in the cold ground before I ever drink Corona again.
Right.
Coronavirus.
And Takata's no good.
Yeah. I won't drink Corona because, well, you know. Anyways, okay, so go back to Taco Charleston or whatever his name is.
During like the NBA, like the slam dunk contest or something like that, like somebody did the thing where they're like, you come and stand under the net and then I'll jump over you. You know,
they dunked over him?
No. But if you watch it, they all did like what you did. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like
holding each other back.
But they didn't. Like the guy who was dunking, his like crotch like hit Taco like right in the like right between the shoulder blades.
And then did he push himself up over him?
He didn't push himself up, but like his momentum carried, so it like he didn't clear Taco's head. It like hit him and like bent him down.
Oh, because he had like because this poor man had to stand there and be like, at any moment, someone's nuts are going to hit me in the back of the head.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what happened. Right on the back of the neck.
Oh.
And then everyone's like, are you kidding me? And it's like, dude, I could have done that.
Yeah.
Like I could have jumped, had my junk hit him right between the shoulder blades and dunk. And like, what does that mean? Nothing. I just ran into him.
Yeah, but the problem is with the dunk contest, everyone wants to go back to the days of Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins. Like the dunk contests have not been any good for 10 years. They really haven't.
It really did get to a point where like everything you could think of had been done.
Right.
And then they were like, so let's start using props.
Yeah.
Well, like Dwight Howard was like, I'll wear a Superman cape.
Yeah.
Wow, that deserves a 10. You know what I mean? Like you one-handed dunked it like a junior high kid.
Yeah. You're 6'10" and
kid.
you threw it down with one hand.
But
Wow.
you wore a cape. Oh, give them a 10. They're all holding up 10s.
Yeah. I like when they put the two 10s together, the judges who are like Dominique Wilkins, like I said, and like Charles Barkley and Stan Van Gundy, who's the Undertaker.
Right. And then like Joan London.
Yeah.
Like they'll have some like celebrity.
She's like, I'm from Just for Mom or whatever. A place for mom, but I'm also here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the judges for today's slam dunk contest is Dan Marley, Shaquille O'Neal, and you were from Natalie on the Facts of Life. You know?
Judy.
And
Steve Urkel.
Yeah. And you're like, what are these people? What are they?
I know. They're trying to appeal to a bro. They're like Candace Bure. Straight from all your Hallmark movies.
Are you just going to say they're trying to appeal to a broader? If you're having Natalie from the Facts of Life as a judge, that's not trying to appeal to a broader audience. That's a niche audience.
Yeah, you're going super, super niche. Okay, so what I was saying, though, I went to the store today. There is so much toilet paper and paper towel now that you can buy, but now you can't buy yeast, flour, or pizza sauce. And I'm telling you, it's Pinterest.
Well, from what you, if you go back and listen to a few of our episodes ago, that's what I said when I went to Hollywood Market.
I wasn't listening, okay?
I know, you never do. You're always thinking 10 steps ahead.
2 steps forward, I take 2 steps back. We come together because I was in the track. Do you realize
that's the second Paula Abdul song that someone has sang to me today.
What else did they sing? What other one? Hush, hush, hurry, lover, come to me.
What's the other one?
Straight up now, tell me.
Straight up
now, tell me. Why would someone sing that to you?
I don't know. It got sung to me today, and I was like, "Oh, Paula Abdul."
You realize pre-internet and like everybody getting points on a record so they could get paid. I take 2 steps forward, I take 2 steps back. Who's the guy on that?
No clue.
Right. That's the point. We don't know. It's MC Scat Cat, which scat in other worlds means something different. So like, I don't know what. It's like when someone's like, "Hey, have you seen that new scatting website?" You're like, "Wait a minute. Like, is it like Scooby-Doo like David Lee Roth did, or the other kind?" Because the other kind I'm not interested in.
Right.
But
dude, kinda.
Listen,
you're interested for about 3 minutes.
No, more like 10 seconds. Anyways, that song came out and no one ever questioned who the guy is on that song.
No, why? Because Paula Abdul was a Laker girl. Like that's like if someone's sitting there like,
was she like Lebanese or something? I feel like she's.
Okay. But if someone was like, "Who is the guy on that?" and someone would be like, "I don't know. Do you know she's a Laker girl?" Then the conversation just goes in a different.
Yeah.
Oh, Carmen Electra was a Laker girl.
Yeah. She's hot, dude. She looked good on that Last Dance. She aged well. She's 46 years old.
I didn't see her on The Last Dance.
She was on the Rodman one, which we're going to talk about in just a second. You and your Rodman story.
I don't remember her being on it, though.
She was on it 2 episodes ago. So not this week, but last week. 3 episodes ago. The first episode that they showed last Sunday was she was on there because she was married to him at the time.
Did they interview her?
Yeah. She had like real nice blonde hair. It didn't really look like her. Yeah, she's on there. She looked great. I mean,
because I watched it, but
Wendy and I watched it. It's pretty rare that Wendy and I would agree on somebody being good looking. Like, do you know that show Hometown? And I'm not going to be mean, but do you know that show Home on HGTV? I thought maybe Molly watches it. There's a girl that has the ugliest.
Me and Molly do nothing together. You forget this.
And I sit through like total.
She lives in her own world, and then I live in mine. And
right.
At some point, we got married. And I think when we said I do, that was also kind of, well, it's been nice hanging out. Like, we do nothing together.
Yeah. Well, this is really cool. It's good to get to know you. Hopefully I run into you sometime. Yeah. Naked.
We were like connected at the hip while we like dated. And like we were always together. Loved doing stuff together. Got married. I don't have a clue what she does. And I just do my own thing.
Anyways, last night, this girl was on there, and I was like, oh, my gosh, I can't stand her. And when he's like, oh, I think she's really fun. I just am not a big fan of this. But it's very rare that she and I agree on something when it comes to beautiful women. And in that case, both of us were like, wow, Carmen Electra has been rode hard and put away wet. Like, she has had a rough life, I'm sure. She, first of all, was discovered by Prince in Cincinnati, Ohio. Yeah, given the name Carmen Electra when her name is like Suzanne or something. It's something. It's something. Oh, it's her real name is Tara Patrick.
It is?
Nothing. There's another human being that goes by the name Tara Patrick who's a porn star.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. I thought for sure I was going to get some. I'm proud of you that you don't know who that is.
I thought you were going to say her name was Terry.
Terry Garr. Do you remember Terry Garr?
Yeah.
Was she in
like something like awful like Terry Munch?
No, her name is Tara Lee Patrick. She's born in 1972. That puts her at 46 years old. Wow. 48 years old. And she honestly, for someone who was discovered by Prince, then lived and married Dennis Rodman, was with Dave Navarro. She married him.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That was longer than the Rodman thing.
Oh, for sure.
She's only married to Rodman for like less than a year, I think.
Maybe a couple of weeks. I don't know what the story was. Okay, so we've teased this Rodman story too much, and I feel like we've built it up to be such a great story, and it was. Can I tell the biggest part, the national TV part, or are you going to get to that?
I'll get to that.
Okay, so
I can say it. But if you want to, go ahead. I can tell the rest of the story.
No, it's great. The story's great. So this is Joe's famous Dennis Rodman story. Go.
All right, you guys. So Cal and I, growing up, like I've been known as a storyteller, not a comedian. I'm not a joke teller. I'm just a storyteller. So this is the big story. It's going to take a bit to unravel, but we'll do this.
I'm going to try not to cut you off either.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys will be on the edge of your seat. But anyway, most of you guys know that right out of high school, I was in a Christian punk ska band. We were called the Insiders. And so
INSYDERZ if you want to look it up.
Correct. If you want to stream it so I can get 10 cents for every 30,000 streams. So anyway, we were kind of at the peak of our popularity, and we were contacted by a rap group. And this rap group was called K2S. And so K2S asked us if we could do the music because they kind of wanted to capitalize on the success of ska. And they said, if you write us a song that we could like rap over, we're going to put it on the album, all this stuff. What do you want for it? How much will that cost? Well, we as a band, we were looking to do a getaway, like a retreat where we could just kind of clear our heads as a band and kind of hang out and just have a good time. And so the record company, pitched it and said, hey, if you do this for our guys, what can we do for you? How do you want to be compensated? So we just said, hey, could you get us a beach house in LA? So when we're out in California, it was in Newport Beach. Just get us a beach house and we'll stay there. We'll have fun. We'll relax. We were bringing in like speakers and stuff to do like workshops and actually have this like nice little getaway. And so the company was like, okay, cool. And so for like a week and a half, we were in the studio recording while we stayed at this beach house in Newport. And so we, like half the time we were recording. And then when that ended, then we had like another week and a half that we were just there kind of enjoying Southern California. So we were there like a good like 2.5, 3 weeks. Well, while we were there and while we were, you know, like if some of the guys were in the studio, I would usually record from like 9 o'clock at night till like 1, 2 in the morning, things like that. So everybody kind of had different schedules of when they were in there. So different people in the band. Yes, Cal.
I'm just going to tell everybody, a lot of people don't know this. I'm not saying that people are stupid, but people don't realize when people record a CD or a song or anything, they don't do it all at one time. So by the time Joe got there to be the singer, they have already put down all the music and things like that. That's why he would record so late, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So like
So
we record an album, you go in there and like everybody plays together in separate rooms and you can all hear each other, but like you're only recording the drums. And then the bass player comes in and then they play the recording of the drums and then he puts his over it and so on and so on. So I was, you know, later on and doing my thing. So throughout the day, there'd be different people in and out of the beach house. And one of the guys came in one day and was like, I think I saw Dennis Rodman next door. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, I think I saw Dennis Rodman next door. They're like, no, you're crazy, you know, whatever. And this was when he was playing for the Lakers. So right at the end of his career, after he left the Bulls, so he played for Detroit, then he went to San Antonio, and then I think he went to the Bulls, played for the Bulls for a really long time, and then he went to the Lakers like toward the end of his career, and it was right after he had married Carmen Electra. So at this point, he's playing for the Lakers, and he's married to Carmen Electra. So we're at our place, and we're like, are you serious? So like a couple of days go by, nothing. So one day I'm outside and our beach house, I'm not joking when I say a beach house, like the entire back of it was glass. And then like you open the door and you're right on the beach in Newport Beach. You had a 40-foot walk to the water. Well, probably a 100-foot walk to the water. It was awesome. And so I'm out there one day, like sitting on like the little patio, and this dude comes out next door who looks like the Undertaker's manager, Paul Bear, looks like Stan Van Gundy. And he's out, and I'm like, hey, man, what's up? He's like, hey, how are you? And I was like, I kind of joked with him because I thought like that was the guy who lived there. And I was like, oh, a bunch of the guys in here thought that Dennis Rodman lived over there. And he's like, he does. And I'm like, he does? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm so-and-so. Like, he didn't say his manager, but basically what this guy did from observations that we saw after this point was Dennis Rodman kind of couldn't be trusted.
Yeah.
And he had this guy that was like a babysitter. So when like Dennis would like leave his house, this guy would say, like, I heard it with my own ears. Like the guy would be like, Dennis, lock your door. And Dennis would be like, I did. And he'd be like, Dennis, lock your door. I did, man. I did. It's cool. Dennis, lock the door. Okay. And then Dennis would go and lock the door. Like this guy literally was telling Rodman, like an adult, you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Siri thinks I'm talking to her. So
sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
So the guy's out there, and so we start talking. He's like, yeah, he does live here. You know, I'm kind of his manager, whatever. And I said, hey, well, we're a band. I said, would you do me a favor? If I gave you a CD and a shirt, would you give Dennis a CD and a shirt?
Yeah,
he's like,
smart.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, man, absolutely. So I was like, oh, cool. So I go in the house. I get one of our best-selling shirts. Well, at that time, it wasn't best-selling.
Yeah.
That's called foreshadowing. And then and a CD. So I get 2 CDs, 2 shirts, take them over, give them to him. He's like, oh, thanks a lot, blah, blah, blah. We chit-chat for a little longer. That's it. He goes in the house. So like a day goes by, and I hope you didn't think I was calling you a dago.
I'm all like, I'm offended. Just greasy Italian skin.
A day goes by.
I'm
like,
eating fresh. I'm eating fresh mozzarella. I'm eating ravioli. I'm like, what? I got a chef's hat on.
Bread oil. And putting it and applying it right to your face.
It's gonna go there anyways. The oil's gonna go there anyways. I might as well skip a step. I
just skip the carbs.
It's a spicy meatball. I all of a sudden look like Luigi and Mario.
So back to it. So a couple of days go by, and my roommate, like the guy who I always roomed with on tour, was our trumpet player. His name is Bram Roberts. So me and Bram, like, we go to bed one night. Like, we go to bed at, like, I don't know, 11 o'clock, midnight, whatever. Because we're young and crazy, so we stayed up to midnight. We
stayed up way past 11.
20s. We stayed up almost till midnight. And so we fall asleep. We wake up at like 1:32 in the morning with just music just blasting. So Bram and I were like, what the heck? So we look out like our bedroom window, which kind of looked at the thin, like the little narrow alley between our two homes. And I'm like, dude, I think Dennis Rodman's like having a party. and he's like, are you serious? Like, he's like, let me see. So we're like looking, but we can't really see because the angle. So we're both like, I wonder if Carmen Electra's there.
Yeah, for sure. You're thinking the right
trying
thing.
To look out there to see. So we go to the back of the house where, you know, we have a patio, and then there's like a 2-foot seawall, like a 2-foot like little wall that goes around it. And then it's his patio. And all the people are sitting out there in chairs. They got a bonfire. Like, all these people are there. And so me and Bram go back, and we're like, and there's the, you know, the long vertical blinds.
Yes.
For like sliding glass doors, like glass door walls and stuff. So the whole back of our place was these vertical blinds. So I told Bram, I'm like, I'm going to peek through the blinds. And he's like, if you peek through, they're going to know, like, we're looking out.
Well, because it's light inside and it's dark out there. They're going to totally see you.
No, we didn't have the lights on in the house. But
so you were going to go full creep mode. You were so creep mode.
We were in total creep mode, but we were thinking that, like, you know, it's a party. No one's paying attention to the blinds of the house next door, right?
Right.
But we were thinking we were going to get caught. So I opened the blind like an inch so that, like, my pupil can barely see through. And I see what appears to be Dennis, like, dancing by the fire. So I turn around to Bram, and I'm like, hey, I think I see him out there. Then the look on Bram's face was kind of like weird. So I turned back around. And through the blinds, because now, like you said, the fire is illuminating everybody outside, casting shadows on our blinds. We see this figure come over the wall, and me and Bram are like, oh, crap, we got caught. Dennis's boys are coming over. Like, we're going to get, like, whooped. Next thing we know, on the door, boom, 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 boom. And we just freeze. We're like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Bram's like, open the door. I'm like, I don't want to open the door. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I open the door. When I open it, it's Dennis Rodman in like skin tight, like what would be like cow print, like black and white cow print, leather pants, like I don't know, like a mesh tank top.
Like you would wear for football in the 80s?
Oh, like a tank top, like a 70s top.
Like a tank top. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then he was wearing like a big hat, like a fisherman's hat. So it came down here, and then there was like a big brim that went like all around his hat, like how you would think like an old man fisherman. And then he had all his piercings in. So if you saw him on The Last Dance, exactly the piercings that he had there was what he had 20 years ago.
And
like,
he's standing at your back door.
Yeah. And we're standing, 2 feet from each other. And he's like, hey, are you guys that band? And we're like, yeah. He goes, oh, just one little side note too. This was the last night that we had this place. So this was the last night we were there. The next day we were flying out the next day we were flying out back home here to Detroit. And so he's like, hey, man, he's like, are you guys that band? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, awesome. Grab your instruments and come over. And I go, thanks, man. I appreciate it. But I was doing the like, oh, man, but we're tired. We're just going to go to bed. And he's like, no, man, grab your instruments and come on over. And I'm like, Mr. Rodman, all our equipment is like at the recording studio, or even by now it's even been packed up. It might even be at the airport. But I was just like, it's at the recording studio. And so he's like, how much is it going to cost to go get it? And I'm like, well, here's the deal, sir. I was like, we fly out tomorrow. So like all our stuff is packed. Like we fly out tomorrow. The tickets are paid for, the whatever, we have to get back home. And so he's like, how much will it cost? He's like, I'll pay for you guys to go home, go get your instruments, bring them back. You're going to play my party. And we were like, I was just like, Mr. Rodman, I can't. So I told him, I go, we're all sleeping and we got to fly out in the morning. And at that moment, I turn around to try and get some moral support from Bram. And the entire band is now awake, standing behind me. So I just told Rodman, like, no, dude, we're all asleep. We got to fly out.
They're all standing there.
Standing right there. So I turn around and there's 8 people. So, now, mind you, one of the people was one of the guys that we flew in to help us with like our retreat, which is now one of the associate pastors at Kensington Church in Troy, Steve Norman.
He used to be. He lives in Grand Rapids now. Yeah.
Yeah. So Steve Norman was there with us. And so he's like, okay, well, I want you guys to come over to the party. And so curiosity was just like, when are we ever going to be invited to a Dennis Rodman party, right? So I'm thinking we're going to go over, so I'm thinking strength in numbers. So I tell him, hey, yeah, man, we'll come over. And he tells us, he's like, come on, man, come on over. And he's like, you guys are that Christian band? And we're like, yeah. He's like, well, come on over. Everything's fine. There's nothing crazy over there. I mean, there's a little weed and a little coke, but nothing crazy. And like, here's us as like these like Christian kids in like a punk band. And we're just like, I'm sorry, did he just say there's cocaine over there? So he's like, there's nothing crazy, just weed and cocaine. And we were like, and so I'm like, when is this ever going to happen again? So thinking in my head that everyone behind me is with me and I'm bored for this, I say, yeah, okay. I mean, strength in numbers. If our band goes over there, a bunch of dudes from Detroit, we'll stick together and we'll come out.
We'll have a great story to tell our kids.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll come over. And he's like, good, because it's all about the love. He's like, I want you guys to come over. You're a Christian band. It's all about the love. Come on over. He just kept saying that. Like he was
wasted.
He was wasted.
He may have partaken, allegedly, in some of the partaking that was going on.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's all about the love. It's all about the love. It's all about the love. He said that 100 times. So I turn around to like go take off my PJs and get my normal clothes on. And so I start to go over. And
you're like, I like to get my mesh crop top on too.
Right. So I'm like, well, who else coming with? So Bram is like, I'm coming.
Good. Okay. So at least someone went.
Yeah. And our bass player, Bo, who's now the pastor of Genesis Church in downtown Royal Oak, Bo's like, I'm going. And then our drummer, who's the associate pastor at Genesis Church, he says he's coming too. So we get there this is where over the years, kind of maybe hearing from other guys tell it from their point of view, things differ. This is what I remember. So after we got there, we had been there a while and I'm looking around and I remember, in my mind, the only other celebrity that I remember seeing was, I believe I saw Rick Fox, who was playing for the Lakers at that time too.
Right. That would be a logical, like, Red Fox, probably not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, probably not. But Rick Fox, that's a probably somebody that could have been there.
So I believe I saw Rick Fox, and then he was standing by this guy who looked like the dude. It wasn't, but he looked like the dude who we joked about a few episodes ago, that comedian who crashed that $1 million car right away. That little, he's a black
Cat
comedian.
Williams.
Nope. He's a oh, doggone
Black
it.
guy?
Yeah, he's a black guy.
Oh, Kevin Hart.
Oh, dude, we talked about this. It was the guy. He was a comedian that showed up to do this like video shoot thing, and they put him in like a $2 million sports car, and he drove it about 15 feet and wrecked it, and then had to get out and like.
I don't know who you're talking about.
So that one bombed there. So he looked like him, and the entire time he had his right hand tucked into his jacket, and was just staring.
Wow.
At us. And so I remember the whole time kind of looking at this guy like, this guy doesn't want us here. I don't know who this guy is, but he
not Tracy Morgan.
No,
it's a comedian.
It's a comedian.
I don't remember this.
Okay, now I got to look it up.
Okay.
So Cal has ruined the story.
No, I haven't ruined the story, dude. I've decided that this is so really like this is so good, this story, that this is going to be the only segment we even do on this. So you take your time, brother. I don't even care. I'm just sitting like the thing that sucks about this is that the video's going to be this me like this.
$1 million car. Let's see.
You're like Jason Bateman. I'm like, no.
No, all that keeps coming up is like Tracy Morgan.
That's what I'm saying. Tracy Morgan did that.
It's not. It's not him. It's as soon as I say, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, we talked about this literally like 5
I don't
episodes.
remember this story. I mean, we talked about a lot of things.
Here, let me try this. Keep talking. I'm gonna try.
Okay. But yeah, the video is going to be funny because it's going to end up being me just like permagrin. This story's awesome, but the best part hasn't even happened yet, if you ask me. Eddie Griffin.
So okay. Eddie Griffin, if you guys remember, he did a movie. And for part of the movie, I think it was like Fast and Furious or something like that, a movie like that. And so as part of like the promotion, all the media could show up, and Eddie Griffin was going to come out and like, it was like a Ferrari Enzo or something like a $1.5 million car. He gets in it like whap, boom, and just wrecks it. So there's a dude.
Okay, so let's just call him Eddie Griffin. Who cares? Okay. Let's say it was him.
Yeah, allegedly, Eddie Griffin. So supposedly, what I remember, Rick Fox, a guy who looked just like Rick Fox, was standing there. And then next to him, this Eddie Griffin guy who, if you're watching on the YouTube, who like the whole time just had his like hand in his jacket, was just staring at us. He was leaning against a door frame, but he was about 5'2". He was just a small guy. And then there's Dennis's manager, who's basically playing bartender. Like I said, this guy did everything.
Yeah.
So during the party, like he's like making drinks for people and stuff like that. Then there's like girls. So we get ready to come over, right? So I let me back up. So I go and I like change, and I'm like, all right, you guys, let's go. And suddenly everyone who's standing there is like, well, I'm not going. I'm not going.
Come on.
So Bram, Bo, and from what I remember, Nate. We were only over there just a little bit, and then Nate left. So it was me, Bram, and Bo, the three of us. And we're sitting there, and mind you, Dennis Rodman is married to Carmen Electra at this point. Allegedly, I saw someone who looked like Dennis Rodman wander off into the darkness with a young lady who was there. And I heard noises about 3 feet behind me. So I had to peek over my shoulder, and it was something
adults do.
Something adults do. It was something adults do going on the beach. Some may call that a dirty churro.
They may have a drink named after it.
Yeah. But so that was going on. So allegedly they finish from, whatever. I think he was probably just telling her like a recipe for a good chili.
But for banana bread.
Yes. And so they come walking back, at which point Dennis snaps his fingers and does the like, woo, like snaps his finger and then twirls it in a circle above his head. And he says, we're all doing shots.
Oh, no. And you guys don't drink at the time.
At the time, we don't drink.
Oh, no.
So the shots are poured and they go and Dennis starts walking around. He's got like a tray of shots. He's taking them around. And me, Bram, and Bo are like, nah, we'll pass. We'll pass.
And he looks right at you and is that, I take it that's not good enough for Dennis Rodman.
Nope. Nobody's ever told that guy no. So he's like, no, we're doing shots. And he's like smiling. He's like, no, we're doing shots. And I'm like, no, I don't drink. Like, I'm not doing shots. So he goes over to Bram and he's like, we're doing shots. And Bram's like, no, I don't drink. And so he continues and he's like, we're doing shots. And if I remember, he even like poked Bram like really hard.
Now Bram is probably 5'10", 5'11" maybe, and Dennis Rodman's 6'8".
Yeah.
And wearing a mesh halter top.
Yeah.
Bikini.
Chisel.
It's changed
1%.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. 1% body fat.
And an Audi for a belly button. Don't ever forget that he's got an Audi.
And so,
like a cabbage
it gets to the point where I can't take it anymore. The whole place is quiet. No one's saying a word. There's music playing. Mind you, the music that's playing is White Snake on repeat. Here I go again on my own. So I'm going to Tarantino this. So we're pausing the action where, as of right now, everyone is quiet and Dennis is like confronting Bram. But if we Tarantino this and rewind to when we first got there, again, I'm thinking, I gotta walk through his house, right?
Yeah.
I'm at his party. I gotta walk through and see what's up. Because prior to this, if you would have said Dennis Rodman party, go, I would have thought good food, drinks everywhere, all sorts of stuff, like girls, women everywhere, all that. There were some girls, but there were like 3, 4 maybe that he probably saw at 7-Eleven.
Right.
When he was picking up the firewood. He had the thing of firewood that it was a bundle of like
like a $5 stack. Yeah.
Yeah. And it had the plastic around it with the rope handle. He threw that whole thing in. So as the bonfire is going, he doesn't even take it apart. He throws the whole thing in. So the first 30 seconds is the plastic peeling off, this thick black smoke, and the rope burning. And people
and the handle still.
Yeah, with the handle. And his manager's like, Dennis, you don't do that. You don't do that. And so he was just kind of like, whatever. So I think when he was at the 7-Eleven buying the firewood, he sees these like
local skanks.
Exactly. That's exactly
local models.
That's exactly the word I was
local girls in my area.
Brought them over. And so I'm like, I got to walk through his house. So I'm thinking like food's going to be good. I might go grab a little something. Walk in the kitchen.
Wait, what happened to the Bram thing? Are we taking a break?
Tarantino, we're taking a break from that.
Okay.
So we backed it up. So I walk through the house and there's nothing special. It's like just like a normal house that he's probably renting. Like he doesn't have pictures on the walls. He doesn't have anything like that. But I walked into the kitchen to see what the victuals were, to see what the food was. And there was 2 open bags of like Lay's potato chips, like a couple of paper plates, and on the stove was a big pot of boiling water with one lonely hot dog just rolling around in this boiling water. Just one. Just one. And I don't know if what shocked me was that if there was just one hot dog in the boiling water, or if there had been a pack of 8 and 7 people were actually like, you know what, I'm in the mood for a boiled hot dog. So that threw me. So I kind of went in there, and after I saw that, and then I could see the light on in the room where all the other goods that he had told us about.
He had alluded to earlier.
Yeah, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to go back outside. So I go back outside. So now we fast forward back to the shots, and he's like hitting Bram, and I could tell Bram's getting uncomfortable. And I just thought to myself, like, this is it. Like, this is where it starts not being fun.
Yeah.
You know, and when you kind of got to stand up to that peer pressure and that feeling that you felt in junior high or high school, like now I'm experiencing as like a 20-year-old
with a future NBA Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
You're like, I kind of thought that I would get more peer pressure from like, you know, a guy I went to high school with, like Brian. What's that guy? No, that kid who threw us out of that party that time, Brian.
Brian Barbado.
Yeah, Brian Barbados. You're like, I was thinking more on that level than one of the bad boys was going to be peer pressuring me.
I did not think a guy whose jersey I would own in the future I was gonna be fighting with. So what jumped in my head? What jumped in my head, and I didn't have time to think about it. It came to me. I was like, so I stepped in between them. And so he was like poking Bram in the chest, and I stepped in between them, and I'm like, all right, okay. And I'm like, look, man, he doesn't want to drink. And he's like, this is my party. We're drinking. And he's like, if you guys don't want to do this and you don't want to, you know, all this, he's like going off. And I'm like, Dennis, man, I was like, you said this is all about love. And I said, we came over here. We wanted to meet you as far as like our neighbor went and all this stuff. I was like, we're just here because you invited us over and you said it's all about the love. And, you know, things have gotten a little bit crazy. And he's like, oh, I see how it is because you're a Christian. I see how it is. And we're like, well, you know, again, we just want to be here. We want
dude, we're not telling you what to do, bro. We're just
wanted to meet you. We wanted to hang out at your party, but we don't drink. We don't do shots. So we're not going to do this, man. And just go ahead and give ours to somebody else. I'm sure somebody else will drink them, right?
Yeah.
And so he at the time I had like a really long like goatee. You know, it was the 90s. Everyone had a big long goatee, right?
So, I had that giant sunglasses. It was the 90s. We all were crazy. I wore Doc Martens. What do you want me to do?
And a ball-bearing necklace. And
puka
cargo
shells. I had cargo shorts and a puka shell necklace. What do you want me to do? And shirt. Frosted tips.
Yes, totally. And so at this point, he grabs my goatee. It
gives you the most soft, gentle kiss of your entire life.
Well, he grabs it and he yanks it down. And he goes, you think Jesus had this? And I go, a goatee? And he like yanks on again. He's like, you think Jesus had this? And I had earrings at the time. You know, like
1 gauge. You're like, I had the 0 gauge.
Yeah. And so he like tugged on my earrings and he's like, you think Jesus had this? And then, one sec, my daughter's asked me, all the food's right there. For Cinco de Mayo, we got the best Mexican place in all of the area, Tiende Tacos over on John R. So you're like,
in end of the story, everyone died. Have a good day, everybody. You just end it because of the fact that your daughter's there.
Right. So he pulls on my beard, or he pulls on my goatee and says, did Jesus have this? He pulls on my earrings and says, did Jesus have these? And then he said, oh, you think Jesus surfed? To which my reply was, well, he walked on water. So I think that's
solid.
Cooler.
Yeah.
Surfing. And again, I'm just trying to keep it light. So at that point, he doesn't like that answer.
Oh,
some people giggled. Some people like kind of chuckled and stuff. So he gets like kind of up in my face and he kind of says some other stuff. And he goes, and then I can't remember what else he was saying at that moment because I was thinking like, I'm about to get like, by like all these people at this party.
Rick Fox just gets behind you. He pushes you over him like in middle school.
Right.
He's on his hands and
on his hands and knees, right, on all fours, and I go over top of him.
Eddie Griffin's like, years from now, I will crash a car.
And so, anyway, I forget what he was like saying to me because I was just thinking like, oh crap, I'm waiting for like a sucker punch. So like my attention is like waiting for a sucker punch. And he goes, "You think I'm stupid, don't you? You think I'm stupid." And I go, "Dennis, I don't think you're stupid." He goes, "Yeah, you do. You think I'm stupid." And this is what I said, and this was the truth. I go, "Dennis, I don't think you're stupid. I read your book." And so he had come out with that book.
Yeah, where he was sitting there like nude.
Yeah, he's nude on the cover, but he's holding like a basketball in front of his junk. And so I go, "Dennis, I don't think you're stupid. I read your book. I know where you're coming from." At which point somebody in the party goes, "That's one person that read it."
Oh no.
So Dennis turns and like looks at that guy, and the guy's like, "Man, I'm just playing. I'm just playing."
Yeah,
Started.
People are holding each other back. It's a young Dwight Howard who will go on to dunk a basketball in a Superman outfit. Okay.
So then he turns back to me and he kind of looks at me. And again, I didn't know what else to say. So at that
You're
point,
like, "Sweet Jesus, be with me right now. I need to get out of this."
Yeah, Dennis, again, we just came over here. You said it was all about the love. We just came over to meet you to have some fun at a party. And he's like, "You know what? I'm sorry. You're right." And he reaches out and grabs me and pulls me in, gives me the longest, most uncomfortable hug. So like I hugged him, he hugged me, but it wasn't just kind of like a man hug, like I haven't seen you in a while. His head was like we were neck to neck, and like we were pushing into each other's heads, like as you would, as your mother would comfort you after you like skinned your knee. Like he was holding me close, I was holding him close, and we just held each other. And then I was done, and he could hold me. At that point, he's like, "Apologize again, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, we're not gonna, everything's all good."
Yeah, you're like, "Dude, we're good.
Yeah, everyone, we're all good." Everyone lets out a collective sigh of relief, and he goes, "Let's do shots." and he swings his finger around again, to which all of us are like, oh boy. At that point, we had gone over there probably 1:32 in the morning. At this point, it's 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And so we're like, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah.
So we go back in. The next day, we fly back home. I don't know what happened. I was the sickest I've ever been in my life. I don't know if something was in like, a drink.
I don't know if I. Oh, you think?
I wasn't like, I don't even remember actually having we didn't drink
alcohol.
Hot dog?
Did you eat that hot dog?
Drank the hot dog water. But all I remember is I was so sick the next day and we had to fly home. I was so sick on the flight home, yada, yada. So that was the Dennis Rodman story. And then fast forward like 3 months, we'd come back home. We'd gone back out to California. So we're in California recording again. And because of the time difference, my mom calls me and she's like, "Joe, are you by TV?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You got to watch like
2020
with like Diane
2020 Sawyer. With Diane Sawyer."
Yeah. And she goes, "I'm not going to tell you why, but you got to watch it." So because of the time difference, like 2 hours later, 2020 came on in California. So we turn it on and we're like, and they tease it that Dennis Rodman's going to be on. So we're like, "Oh, cool. And we're like, oh, maybe they're going to show his house and see our house next door, like where we stayed. That's probably what my mom was talking about. So we're watching it. And as we're watching it, they're showing clips of Dennis, like little montages in between like the interview. So like when it comes back from commercial, it's showing him do something. Well, everything he was doing, they basically shot like B-roll in one day. And he's wearing the shirt that I gave him. So it's an orange Insiders shirt, and it says Insiders across the front in the exact lettering of like the Godfather. So it's like the Godfather lettering, and it says the Insiders, and then on the back it had like our like little mascot thing. And it shows him like going to like every commercial, like him riding a motorcycle, him buying ice cream, him doing all this stuff, wearing an Insider shirt.
Yeah.
So then after that, like if you ever hear like, oh, Michael Jordan is the spokesperson for Gatorade or, whatever, and you think people out there don't buy stuff because of celebrities, our shirts like that shirt that he bought, like
No, wore. He didn't buy it.
Yeah, that he wore. The shirt that he had on, our internet sales like went through the roof. And then like my mom did all our internet sales here at home and would ship them out. And then on tour, everywhere we went, people are like, "Oh, that's that shirt." And so we started calling it the Rodman shirt. And so at shows, it would say the Rodman shirt and have it. People were like, dude, we were flying through those. It got to the point, and this is what I heard, we went through the same merch company as No Doubt and Blink 182. And the Aquabats, a guy that's, excuse me, if anybody's familiar with the Aquabats, their stage show, the guy who plays the professor, he's like an accomplished like artist, cartoonist. And he used to draw a bunch of our merch. He would draw merch for No Doubt and Blink. And he drew for us too. And so he had drawn like that thing that was on there. And so that we sold so much that they had to stop a printing of No Doubt merchandise and stop a thing of Blink 182 merchandise because they had to do an emergency printing of like 10,000 shirts that we needed for like this next leg of a tour that we were going on. So it like shut down production of like No Doubt and Blink shirts so that they could print off our stuff. And so that's my Dennis Rodman story is all of that. So I thought I was going to fight him, ended up almost making out with him. And then I almost sired a child with him. And then, and then he wore that on Diane Sawyer.
On 2020.
On 2020.
Hey, you want to say it? Because that was amazing.
Who let the junior down?
I don't even want to wrap it up. That was so good.
All right.
That's it. There's the podcast. That was so good. You told that story better than I've ever heard you tell it. I'm not going to lie.
All right.
I've heard that story, but that was much better. You took 50 minutes to tell that story, and I wished you could have gone. I knew when one of your daughters walked in that the end was gonna get shorter because you want to go eat. That was so good, dude.
No, I already ate. I
tried
to paint the picture as best as I could.
Oh, it was awesome.
Good.
Blown away.
Good.
All right, dude. That's awesome. Enjoy the rest of your I'm like permagrid. That was so funny.
All right, good. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed it. Comment. Let me know what you think.
I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Yeah, bye.